going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock, he hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
Dante will dribble it out! The Ducks are Pac-12 tournament champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is a Thursday here in the Country Financial Studio. Welcome to Duck Insider. I'm Ryan Milano. I'll have you the whole way through today's show. We've got a ton to talk about. Men's golf had their results. They finished up the 77th Western Collegiate yesterday. A pretty good outing for Oregon. Track and field in action today at the Mount Sac Relays. They will be all weekend. We have Oregon football fresh off the practice field. Spring practice number 10 just closed up. We are talking specialists today with special teams coordinator Joe Lorig, as well as a new look place kicker for Oregon in the efforts to replace Camden Lewis at the place kicker position for the Ducks. We've got Jess Drummond on today's show because it's Oregon Lacrosse Senior Day coming up this weekend for Oregon Lacrosse at Pape Field. We also have Oregon baseball content from their game post-game on Tuesday against Gonzaga, as they go on the road to play Stanford this weekend, as well as San Francisco coming up on Monday. Joey just left. He is on the road, which is why I'm here talking to you today. We also have Oregon softball, their media availability they had yesterday, and a whole lot of football players. Blake Purchase, Epani Lau'ulu, the man they call Poncho, Jordan Birch, Austin Novastad, Jordan James, Nico Reed, as well as Atticus Sappington. We'll try to get to all of them today. We'll potentially get to them tomorrow. There's a whole bunch of content that we have coming through the pipeline throughout this week, as it's the regular season finale for beach volleyball coming up tomorrow. Men's tennis has their regular season finale over the weekend. Oregon softball has their senior week this week, going up against Oregon State Friday through Sunday. Track and field in action, baseball in action, sports, all in action around the athletic department. We've got a ton. But the newest bit of content is the one that just came off the practice field less than an hour ago. Talking Oregon football, it's spring practice number 10. The spring game, it's going to be here before you know it. By the way, Duck fans, absolutely great job. Joey talked about it on the show yesterday. Selling out the season tickets for Oregon, absolutely phenomenal. I expect to see all of you at the spring game, all of you at every game at Autzen Stadium. That's great. We're in April. We sold out season tickets. Fall season's like 4 months away, and there's so much excitement. I'm excited, too. I'm excited to break it down with you. It was Joe Lorig, the special teams coordinator, breaking down a new-look special teams after place kicker Camden Lewis. He graduated, the leader in points in Oregon history. Well, who's going to fill some really steady shoes for the Ducks? There's a whole lot of competition going on for Oregon. Breaking it down, special teams coordinator Joe Lorig.
Pretty good spring when your new kicker knocks a 50 in his first scrimmage.
Yeah, we were doing some good things there. We got some good competition going on. I'm pretty happy with Atticus, our transfer from that school up the road. He's done a nice job, and Grant Metters returning has done a nice job, and then Gage Herrick, our freshman from West Lynn, has done a really good job. Super proud of him.
What can you say about Atticus in particular and what you've seen from him so far?
Really just mindset. It's good to have a guy that has done it. At this level, has a big part of kicking. A lot of guys can go out and kick off the sticks or kick, when there's not the real pressure going on, but knowing that he's done it in big games, in some of the stadiums that we'll play in, and just his mentality, he's really got a mentality that you need to have to be good at his position.
Can you sense his work ethic? He was a guy that kind of won the job in Corvallis last year during fall camp.
Yeah, he's got a great work ethic, and to be honest, in our program, if you don't make it. So it's kind of the standard that we have within that group, and he fit right in. And he's really a weight room guy, which is kind of unusual for kickers, but he's one of those guys. The strength staff loves him. They told me the first week, oh, we love this kid. He's such a great lifter and all that, which it can be valuable to that position or not. But more importantly is the work ethic. It's definitely there, and he's a competitor.
With Gage, what went into him? We've seen him punt the last couple of weeks. What went into that decision to kind of have a punt? Is he still working as a kicker as well?
Yeah, so really Gage, he came to our summer camp, our specialist camp, really as a kicker, and then he punted, and he was just phenomenal at punter. So right now we're going to have him do field goals, punts, and kickoffs. I've had a guy named Jordan Stout that starts for the Ravens. He did all three for us at Penn State, so it's not unheard of. But eventually we might lean him towards one or the other. What I didn't want to do is cripple him in one by not letting him do all of them early on. So we'll kind of keep evaluating it. But right now he's doing all three, and for a kid that should still be in high school right now, he's doing really, really well. I'm really proud of him.
Where's Boyle in his recovery, and is he still just handling kickoffs at the moment, or?
Yeah, he's been unavailable this spring. Really, with he had surgery in the fall, and just with his recovery, I know he's working hard in the with the training staff on that to come back, and it just hasn't had a lot of opportunities. We don't want to push that before it's ready.
Ross, he had such improvement from the year before. Talked a little around the Fiesta Bowl, Joe, about had an offensive unit gone from 100 and something to top 10 in the country, people would be going bananas. But at special teams, it's almost like it gets overlooked. Like, can you speak to just how significant a change that was for you guys from 22 to 23?
Yeah, I'm expecting you to write lots of articles about it, right? Everybody does when we're bad. Nobody does when we're good. No, just joking. Yeah, you're right. It was a huge turnaround. It was all due to him. To be honest with you, we sat down and basically said, hey, we're going to bring in another guy. We're going to go to Pro Kick Australia. We're going to bring in a guy that we think is going to come in and be the guy right away. And a little bit of that was a motivational tactic, but a little bit of it was honest. We had to get better. The expectation and the standard here is no different in special team than it is on offense, defense. We're not going to be 120-something in the country, which we were. And so he just got motivated, man. It just goes to show you what the power of motivation can be. And to be honest, I told Ross, I've been coaching 27 years, and I told Ross in our sit down last year after the fall that I was as proud, if not prouder of him than any player that I've ever coached, just because the turnaround was so significant, and it really came from tons and tons and tons and tons of work. He just started working at a different level. Even when he didn't know I was watching at times, and he just worked his butt off and became a really effective weapon for us last year. And it really had a big impact. People don't really see it, but it had a big impact on a lot of games.
How much growth can you have from last year to this year then, if that kind of a work ethic?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's the standard. It's just like anything, right? Like if you're happy being at the mountaintop, then there's usually going to be some kind of drop off, right? So now that's the challenge is, okay, so you've done that. Now I know what you can do. That's a positive and a negative, because now I know what you can do. That's my standard, right? Now I know you can average 48 yards a punt, which is an Oregon history record, right? In the history of Oregon football. Now that's the standard for you. And can you not only do that, but have a growth mindset and raise that, which, he's never shown me to be complacent whatsoever. He wants to win the Ray Guy Awards, what he told me. So we'll see.
Kickoff and kick return format in the NFL, obviously not in college football yet, but curious your thoughts. I mean, it could make its way to college football in the future. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's something that, us special teams guys are kind of a small community. We all know each other. So a bunch of us got together this off season and kind of talked about how it would affect us, how far advanced we should be looking at it. And kind of the thought is, let's look at it this fall a little bit, just kind of watch the other teams. I'll watch the cut-ups every week, and if they adopt it, we'll all be ready to jump really in a hurry and see how can we, how does it impact us? What are the ramifications of it? How do you got to train for it? What are the scheme changes? Those kind of things, but not really get ahead of ourselves and do it yet, because the NFL is going to evaluate it, and to me, it just as easily might go back to the old rule as it was, because there's a lot of, obviously it's not my doing, but there's a lot of like plays that are taken away then, and those kind of things. So I'm not sure how it'll go, but we're certainly abreast of, if it changes, we've got to be on the cutting edge of it, without getting too far ahead of ourselves.
How much live work are you getting in the return game, and how do you get more out of the kick return units I realize all this stuff is small samples, but to improve in that area specifically?
Yeah, you don't really go live in that stuff. It's just not worth the injury risk. I've never done that in my career, but you try to get a lot of live looks, where you're still tagging off on the returner. So we get quite a bit of that, particularly on scrimmage days. You try to go like what I would say part whole. So you're working the individual skill set, and my focus has been more, how can I coach it better? How can I get the specific techniques better? And then making sure we have the right personnel back there is just as important as anything. And so, just trying to be really super detailed with those things. And then when it is, quote, live looks without tackling the returner, we're going full speed and trying to put the best against the best. So it's a really good kickoff team that simulates the opponent coming down against the kickoff return unit.
Seems like you've been repping a lot of newcomers with the return groups. What have you kind of seen from those guys? Any exciting early returns?
Yeah, I think you've got a few guys back there that can do it. One of the things that I showed the other day in a team meeting is, there's a knack to these things, just like any position. And Nico Reed is a guy that is probably the only guy on the roster that has a touchdown in a college game. He had one when he was at Colorado against Utah. Showed that to the team, and they were kind of fired up. But I think we've got some options. You got Jordan James, you got Tez, you got Noah when he comes back from injury. You got Gary Bryant. I mean, you've got some good options. It's more, I don't think returner was necessarily the issue. It's more the off returner, some of our spacing stuff that I think I can coach better. I think we have the personnel to be good. I just got to get them in the right spots and make sure that schematically we've got the right plan to execute. And, you just don't get that many kickoff returns anymore. I think we had like 18 last year. And so you've got to maximize the ones that you do get.
Have you seen Luke improve, and just kind of what's that hunting competition, if there is one, what's that like so far?
Oh, there is one. Yeah, there's competition at every spot, and that's not just me saying it. It's real. We chart everything every day, and right now, if you looked at the numbers, Luke and Ross are completely, like literally almost even. We went over it last night or the night before in a meeting, and their numbers like exactly are perfect, or like exactly matched right now. So, for those Australian guys, like I said, I've been doing it a while, and whenever you have an Australian guy, like, they don't even drive on their cars the same as we do, right? All the food's different, like everything's different. So it usually takes them a year to adjust. So I've seen a bunch of growth from him. Super proud of him. He's a really hard worker. He's a great teammate. I mean, he's really, really talented. Like it'll be a battle going all the way into the fall. But nobody cares what you did last year. I don't care. Nobody cares what I did last year. It's about now. And so I expect it to be a really, really tight competition all the way through.
We're just talking about the move to the Big Ten, Joe, and what it means, but you came from the Big Ten, so what does your knowledge of venues, of teams, of tendencies, of, I don't know, how the wind blows in a stadium, even on special teams, how does any of that help you guys as you prepare for the season?
Well, I think, number one, I was sad to see the Pac-12 go away. Obviously, I don't have any power over that, but that's pretty sad being a West Coast kid. That's part of what allured me to coming back to here, was going to all those stadiums and some of the stuff I grew up watching. But all I can control is what's in my control. And I do think it's an advantage. I've been to every one of the stadiums that we'll play in next year other than Purdue. So I talked to a friend of mine that was at Purdue last year, because you do look at the wind and those kind of things. Nice job. I'm impressed by that on your part, by the way. And but I think just knowing the brand of football, because it's different, and just knowing how different teams attack you, how different teams play. There's obviously coaching turnover, so it's not always the same. But a lot of times you'll know if you're going to play Rutgers, for example. Well, I know their head coach runs their special teams, and I know they're going to be super aggressive on punt block, like things like that. I know they'll run a lot of trick plays. They always did against Ohio State when they played Ohio State. So just that kind of knowledge of opponents, I think, helps. And then, I'm not playing, but for me, going to the stadiums, anytime you go to somewhere new, there can be a little bit of anxiety. So I'll have less of that just because I've been to the places.
That's Joe Lord talking specialists fresh off the practice field today. That interview brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Beverly asks a great question on Facebook. When is the spring game? Next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, in about 10 days from now at 1 o'clock. Admission is free. It is encouraged to bring non-perishable food items for Food for Lane County. There will be a Matt Carney concert after the game on the field. It will be awesome at Autzen Stadium. Here's my game plan for what I'm going to do on next Saturday, on April 27th, for the Oregon spring game. Is first, Oregon soccer is going to be at Pat Bay Field. They're going to play one of their spring contests before the game. So I'm going to go watch Graham Abel's squad. Then I'm going to be at the spring game. I'm going to watch Oregon football, stay for the Matt Carney concert. I might have to leave a little early because Oregon baseball is up in Corvallis that day, going up against Oregon State in a series that could very easily decide the Pac-12 conference the way that things stand right now. Oregon State is a half game ahead of Oregon in the Pac-12 standings. So a lot of things start to happen between then. Obviously, Oregon State has a series. Oregon has a series in baseball. But it could be very easily one of the better days of the year in Oregon athletics, where you go from soccer in the morning to football in the afternoon, make the road trip, turn Corvallis into Eugene North, and take over and go and watch Oregon baseball try to take a series against Oregon State and the Beavers. That's my plan for next Saturday. But Beverly, to answer your question, 1 o'clock Saturday, April 27th. That's when the spring game is. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for the spring. I can't wait to watch this team get back out onto the football field. I want to see some football again. Oh, my goodness, am I excited. We just heard from the special teams coordinator, Joe Lorig, hearing from a new addition that he was talking about, someone from Corvallis that, well, he joined the good team. He joined the good team, came down, and, well, now he's a Duck. Atticus Sappington. That's what we're going to get to after this timeout on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. I'm Ryan Milano taking you through today's show. Oregon men's golf, they just closed up their 77th Western Intercollegiate Tournament that Oregon went on over the weekend, and the Ducks put in a really strong showing, especially late. They got into this round really late, where Oregon came into the day yesterday kind of on the outside looking in. The Ducks made it really interesting. 4 eagles in the final round of play for the Ducks to shoot even par, finished 4th place as a team. Both Grayson Leach and Nate Stember made a real run at this thing. Leach finished 8th, Stember finished tied for 14th, but both of them were within 4 shots of the lead headed into the back 9. Oregon was second as a team headed into the back 9. Granted, back 9 potentially a little bit more difficult the way that things fell throughout the weekend, but Oregon brought a lot of momentum into yesterday on the links and gave themselves a real chance to be in this thing when they were sort of on the outside looking in to start the day. Coach Casey Martin said, "We came out on fire today. I was excited for the start because we needed that to give us a chance. Unfortunately, we stalled out, but it was encouraging to see the guys play well. We were getting closer, but we need to get over the hump soon. I thought Oregon showed a lot of really good signs, in particular Grayson Leach this weekend, shooting a 68 in round 1, a 69 in round 2, and then Nate Stember yesterday shot a 67 to really get back into things. I thought that Oregon had a really strong day out on the course yesterday, and Casey Martin's squad really made a strong run at that thing. There's been a lot of comparisons, and especially with Camden Lewis, when he was talking with the media over the last few times that we spoke with him last season, he equated place kicking to golf a little bit. And, now there's going to be a new place kicker for Oregon. Grant Metters, there's a few other options. Atticus Sappington, he's a transfer that came down from Corvallis to join the Ducks. So someone who, we've seen on the opposite side of things. It's going to be good to root for Atticus Sappington. Great name, by the way. Atticus Sappington, he spoke with the media for the first time as a Duck earlier today, fresh off the practice field. Here is the new kicker, Atticus Sappington.
Sure, there's many guys with as cool of a nickname as yours. How did that come about? What do you think of it?
Which one?
Automaticus.
Really came, I think, with Oregon State, and I remember the Oregonian guy. He was like, that really kind of spurned it, and it's an honor to have the nickname. I take pride in that, being able to contribute to what I can to the team.
What's the adjustment been like for you so far to Eugene, to the Ducks?
It's been great. I'm really happy to be here. I prayed about this decision a lot to come here, and I feel like God put me here for a reason, and it's been good. I'm still homegrown, and being close to home was a huge part of that, and being able to have my parents close by and having their support that's close, and it's been great.
For sure. Coach said you're a big weight room guy, which is uncommon for people at your position. Why do you take pride in that, and then how does it help you?
I've loved lifting weights my whole entire life. I started lifting when I was around 15, and I want to be a big guy. I don't want to have the classic cliche stereotype like skinny kicker. I want to be big. I want to look like a football player, and I take pride in the way I look, and I translate to on the field, and I take pride in my squat, my bench, and being able to have those numbers high. Makes plays on the field and makes my life a lot easier, especially when you got conditions like here. You can drive the ball, so distance doesn't become an issue.
Maybe make some hits too while you're out
there. Yeah, exactly.
Why was Oregon the right fit for you, and was it tough just because of the school you're coming from, just the rivalry? Was that challenging or impact your decision at all?
With coaching changes, you have to reevaluate, especially your personal, vendetta. And, with my parents being close to home, and, it was just the right move for me. It was time for you to move on, and I couldn't be more excited to be here, be a part of a Big Ten team, and being able to, work like here and have the discipline, mentality to get it done on and off the field and really make some big plays.
Was there a sense leading up to that week, the Ducks versus Beavers, that change was happening in Corvallis?
For me personally, I was more focused on the game and being able to make sure I executed my job and did my job for the team. And, when my number's called, it's always on me to be able to make sure, I put points up on the board and do my job for the team to contribute to make a win. So that's what I was focused on.
Outside of football, what should folks know about you? What are you into? What are your sort of interests?
I'm a big car guy. I love cars. So high performance, all that stuff. Weightlifting is a huge hobby of mine. I'm a big stock guy too, so it's kind of a little different. So I use some money of mine that I've saved up and invest in the stocks to build that portfolio and hopefully make some more money than I already am right now.
What were your first couple of days like here? Did you get welcomed with open arms?
Yeah, I would say so. And Coach Lord really helped me feel welcome here, and the team was really open arms, and really I just felt home. And especially being in this mentality and in this program, it was really special for me to come in here and still being close to home and having that mentality of I'm here and it's time for me to go. Let's go.
What was it like kicking in there, and how nice will it be knowing that the majority of the fans will be rooting for you this time?
Oh, I love Autzen, man. It's a really special place. I think Autzen's an historic arena, and I'm really honored and have the privilege of kicking in there, and I don't take that for granted. And it's really a gift from God to be able to do that. And I love kicking in there, and it's a really great feel. It's really all it is.
What's the competition been like so far this spring with some of the other guys?
It's good. I just focus on doing 1% better than I was yesterday and making sure I'm competing with myself and making sure I'm doing my job to the best of my ability and getting better every single day. And, kicking is a very individual position when it comes down to it sometimes, and being able to have focus on your own mental game and your own mental process, allows you to make the plays on and off the field.
So when you make a 50-yarder, what's a 1% better after that?
1% better is just next kick. You're only as good as your next kick. So, being able to, you make it, all right, you did your job for the team, and, relock, reload, and you got to go big in the next one.
Can you take us back to that night in Tucson when you were asked on the fake field goal? Like, what was going through your mind when that call came in?
At the end of the half, I was really just locked in. I was like, it's the first time I've ever really toted the rock like that. So, for me, as a kicker, you don't really get that opportunity very often. So I was excited, and, I wish I got a touchdown, but, so it goes.
I mean, I'm sure you would relish an opportunity to have something like that happen again.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I'm a lot bigger now, and definitely could, maybe truck someone, who knows.
Get you in a fullback.
Yeah, exactly.
That is Automaticus Atticus Sappington. I think that's gonna stick. Yeah, Automaticus Atticus. There are some great nicknames out there. That's a really good one. I'm glad that he's now in green and yellow. I'm glad that he's come down to Eugene. I'm excited to say Automaticus Atticus. Okay, I digress. There's a whole lot more football to get to. There's some more players that are fresh off the practice field from today. We'll try to get to them later in the show, some from earlier in the week, but we got to switch gears. It's senior day for a whole lot of teams. For Oregon lacrosse, it's the first senior day for Jess Drummond. We're getting to Joey's conversation with the head coach of Oregon lacrosse ahead of the home finale this weekend when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Spring Showers. These tough Toyotas can handle whatever you've got. The rugged Tacoma, trail-ready 4Runner, and the versatile RAV4 Hybrid turn your puddles into playtime. For more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Spring Showers. These tough Toyotas can handle whatever you've got. The rugged Tacoma, trail-ready 4Runner, and the versatile RAV4 Hybrid turn your puddles into playtime. For more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano with you here today because Joey is on the road with Oregon baseball as they go down to play Stanford this weekend as well as San Francisco on Monday. And, well, it's not my first time in a new chair. We got a new chair here in studio. It's not my first time in it because I was here on Monday, but, man, is it a glorious chair. the genesis of the new chair sort of started last week with Joey's conversation with Jess Drummond, head coach of Oregon lacrosse. And, well, now ahead of senior day coming up on Saturday against Arizona State, well, there's a new chair in studio. There's a head coach going through her first senior day. There's going to be 11 seniors being honored for Oregon lacrosse. And did I mention there's a new chair? Yeah, let's get to the conversation with Joey and Coach Drummond.
Okay, before we talk about lacrosse, before we talk about the outlook ahead, before we talk about senior week, before we talk about Throwback Thursday, more on that in a moment. I just want everyone to know last week was one of the greatest weeks because, well, it was one of the greatest back ends of the week for me because for the first time since we built the new studio, I got a new chair. Look at, she swivels. I can recline. I can play with the armrests. the old armrests on the old chair, you couldn't move them up and down. Now it's a whole new level of comfort. And who do we have to thank for this? None other than Oregon lacrosse head coach Jess Drummond. Thank you.
You deserved it.
You need to tell the story for fans to let them know that I'm not crazy, and in fact, I'm just comfortable.
You're not. You can actually stand up and walk around after you get out of your chair.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I
feel just as happy as you do that you got a new chair.
But really, the shout out, it's twofold because Jess said something, and then Ray.
Oh, Ray.
Who really takes care of all of us. Like,
yes.
the day that the doors closed, that's a 2% joke. Only like 2% of people in the world will get that. But the day the doors closed and Ray came through with the doorstop so that we all didn't get locked out of our own offices.
Yep.
Ray works in facilities here at Oregon, and Ray found a chair, and I owe Ray for all of the blood flow that has now continued through my legs. This is all because of you. Thank you.
Yeah, Ray is an absolute gem in the department.
Ray is a stud.
Absolute gem.
But multiple gems. Because
right back at you.
Look, it would not have happened without you. I owe you one.
I definitely don't do that for everyone, so.
Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to lie like that. So I got to tell you, though, this is true. People have noticed. Like,
yeah.
People have been like, wow, Joe, you got like this new silvery chair. I'm like, yeah, I do. Thank you to Jess and Ray. But also, Ryan said that my mood was improved over the weekend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, you need the ergonomics, as they say, right?
Yep.
Look, it bounces. Like, guys, just so good.
So happy.
Okay, now, what a battle for your team.
Yes.
Over the weekend.
Yes.
I don't even know where to start. Open floor as the head coach, like.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I know. It stings. Yeah. That was tough.
A one goal loss. That's what Oregon lacrosse is. Coming off on the road in San Diego, it was a 13-12 decision on Saturday. Damn it.
I know.
What were your takeaways?
Great first quarter. We are really good at starting strong.
No kidding.
Really
right?
good. Stick to the game plan. We lock it in. And then San Diego kind of chipped away, and then we just kind of got a little lack of discipline. So we had 11 cards, which totaled for 17 minutes being person down. So that's a full quarter and some. So that's really challenging to put ourselves in a winning position.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. So we were talking about this before we started recording. Like, I was following the live stats, right? And so it's like, in my mind, I'm like, well, what happened? Like, there has to be a story here. But it sounds like it was just, it's a learning moment, a coaching moment.
Totally learning moment. For them, too, of like, you got to kind of adjust to the refs. Once you kind of see 3 cards quick, and it's like, oh, definitely not a time to get a little bit more aggressive or take riskier checks.
Yeah.
So
makes sense. Makes sense. So you play someone down and still almost won.
Yeah.
So there's a positive takeaway. Right?
We're really good at playing person down.
Yeah. God, that stinks. So, you know, the obvious question here now is, like, you start quick, you're sticking to the game plan. What's the key to sustaining throughout an entire event?
Right, and I just think it comes down to having that kind of, we talk about alpha confidence of, like, as team is going to score against us, they might get a run of 3, but how do we respond out of it? How do we just be like, yeah, they can score against us, but I'm going to score more, or I'm going to out-hustle them on this next ground ball. Just kind of having that mentality of not being like, oh, shoot, they're catching up to us. It's like, no, let's not let them catch up to us.
Right.
So.
That makes sense, but
Yeah.
Then there's the other side of me that's like, you want controlled aggression too, right?
Yeah.
Like, so how do you coach that? Like, how do you try to find that line? Reading the refs, like you alluded to before. What's the key there?
Yeah, and we talk a lot about where we want to have our fouls, and so not between the 30s. That's like a hard. We talk about never kind of going for those risky checks, risky pushes, any contact on ball in between the restraining lines. But, below those, that's where we're kind of going for the more aggressive plays. So we try to, look for a little trap or a double team right outside of that. Once we get under, then we're in the safe zone to kind of go for those checks.
Okay, now I'm going to take a complete left turn for you because I got asked this question, and I want a little lacrosse history from you. Okay, so I have found over the years that depending on who I talk to and sometimes where they're from, is it a lacrosse match or a lacrosse game?
Well, I've always said game.
Me too. Okay, so that makes me so. Thank you. God.
What do you mean?
Okay,
I don't know.
So someone pointed out to me last week. They're like, "Hey, I think it's a match," and I went, "Well, but that's like in volleyball. It's a volleyball match, and you play games most of the time called sets within.
Okay.
You play a game that has quarters, much like many others, and then like tennis has a match, and there's
What do you call a basketball?
A game.
Yeah.
And there's quarters.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. All right. So this is a 0.1 percenter, but it's a game.
What is hockey?
Game.
Yeah.
I think match.
Match I think of like a single.
Yeah, like match has it's usually there's something other than quarters within it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
volleyball, like I said, has sets.
Yep.
And Coach Ulmer references sometimes a set is a game, and then tennis, you have a match. But anyway, I did a little history digging, and I think Scott did too. Did you find some? What
in 30 seconds he found out.
What's your answer? Because I did some research.
It says it's a game.
Yeah, it's a game.
Yeah.
Now, here is why.
Google says it's a game.
Are you going to name names?
No.
Okay.
Won't do that. Not going to do that. But
that's safe. Zone.
So I mean, lacrosse is one of the oldest sports in the world. Right?
Yeah,
It was played. The story goes for many of us that it was played by Native Americans, sort of adopted here in what is now the United States.
Yep.
Well, I think it used to be a tribal match.
Yes.
That's
okay.
what it was called.
It was? Okay.
So there's my history lesson for you
Interesting.
today.
I'm going to do some digging.
Yeah.
We should know this.
But I thought that as the local lacrosse historian and expert, I had to ask.
I'm not a historian, but now I want to find out.
But
are we saying it wrong now?
I needed to be confirmed by my caregiver, and I am so happy that we were able to do that.
I love that under my new resume.
Yeah.
Jess Drummond, caregiver.
Look, everybody needs the subheader on the resume. Big believer in the subheader on the resume, by the way.
How fun.
One of them needs to be fun.
Yeah.
Caregiver.
Yeah.
Are you would get a question about that if that was on your resume.
And what a great story to share.
That's right. Jess Drummond, Oregon lacrosse head coach and historian with us. So the outlook ahead, here's how things shake out.
Yes.
Not every team makes the Pac-12 conference tournament. And remember, San Diego State, UC Davis, not in the Pac-12 in every sport. They're in the Pac-12 in lacrosse. So the outlook ahead is very simple at this point in conference standings.
Yes. Win out, we're in.
Win the next two.
Yep.
Great. Let's just leave it at that. Win the next two. But still sitting at 7-5 overall.
Yeah.
I know the 1-goal losses, the two of them in conference are stinging, but things to improve on moving forward. Arizona State, Saturday at noon. It's senior day. What do you want to see from your team?
Yeah, I am super excited for them to be able to come out and kind of do the opposite of San Diego. Be confident, full 60 minutes, work together. Senior game always hits that special aspect of
game.
Senior game.
Senior game.
Senior game. I want to make sure they feel that, there is a lot of emotion that goes into playing on Pape for your last game.
Yeah. Do you remember what that feeling was?
No, because my last game, well, yeah, actually I do. We won and then we lost to Navy in the play-in NCAA game, and I carded out. So, yeah, I certainly won't forget that game.
You carded out.
I did. And I'm like, no.
Boy.
Yes.
There's a story based on
I'm an aggressive
discipline.
player.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
But that's how you coach, right? You want that controlled aggression.
I'm doing what I wish I didn't do.
Right.
A little bit more discipline in myself. Yeah.
Right.
Just wanted it so bad.
Learn from her mistakes. Is that the moral of the interview
You
today?
don't want to sit here being like, oh, my last game, I carded out. Yeah. No. You want to be like, I stayed in full 60 minutes.
You know what, though?
And won.
Honestly, isn't that like the ultimate truth here? Like, that isn't that coaching? Like, you're trying,
sure.
you're conveying, learn from your experience.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's on Pac-12 Network, Arizona State, Saturday at noon at Pape Field. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. Then on the road against Colorado on Friday of next week. And it's very simple. 2 wins, you're in. Season continues. Here's to 2 more wins.
Here's to 2 more wins.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
She's Jess Drummond, chairgiver.
That's me.
But she got in that late quip. I didn't catch that on my first listen through. That was funny. The goal's simple for Oregon lacrosse. You got to win 2. And it starts on Saturday at Pape Field going up against Arizona State. 11 seniors going to be honored. I need some time to compose myself. We're going to flash back to Tuesday, where Oregon baseball got the midweek win over Gonzaga. And the Tuesday sort of served as also the preview to the week looking forward against Stanford. So we're going to hear Coach Wazakowski and his thoughts of what Oregon baseball had on Tuesday and then going forward to this weekend. Joey's on the road, and we're on to a break. We're hearing from Waz when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Spring Showers, these tough Toyotas can handle whatever you got. The rugged Tacoma, trail-ready 4Runner, and the versatile RAV4 Hybrid turn your puddles into playtime. For more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear Spring Showers, these tough Toyotas can handle whatever you got. The rugged Tacoma, trail-ready 4Runner, and the versatile RAV4 Hybrid turn your puddles into playtime. For more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're switching gears to Oregon baseball, who is now on the road. They're wheels up on their way down to Northern California to play against Stanford on the Sunken Diamond this weekend. But Oregon also got a win in the midweek against Gonzaga. The Ducks put up runs on runs on runs. 6 homers for Oregon in the ballgame, tied a program record. Coach Wazakowski, postgame, breaking down the midweek win for Oregon and just a touch of Stanford preview. Here's Coach Waz.
Say Sunday, you felt like you could have executed better offensively. Did you feel like you guys responded at least a little bit today?
Yeah, no doubt about it. The guys came out. That was one of the challenges we had on Sunday, as hard as it was not to finish the weekend the way we wanted to. After it's over, you can't get it back anyways. And so the more you dwell on it, probably the more you're wasting time. And I think they made adjustments based off of previous times. It was the ask of them, make an adjustment if you haven't had your best Tuesday games. And I think the group came ready to play.
What did you see from Ian today? Goes 7 last week, goes 6 today. What did you see from him?
Well, good. He keeps throwing the ball well, and so I don't know. The game knows that guy works, and he's a tireless. He's changed a lot of things in his life, both on and off the field. Just with everything, his studies and the whole deal, and he's excelling now in all walks of life. And so when you just are consistent like that, I think it gives you your best chance to perform at your best, and he's doing that. So really happy for his development.
I think Walsh's 4 for 5, obviously 2 home runs. Just from your perspective, what's it like to watch him when he's kind of locked in on a day like today?
Well, a lot of these hitters, the lineup can. The other day the lineup didn't look very long, and then today it looked like, man, it just kept going. With the length of the lineup, there's a lot of talented players here. They're just young. They haven't played a full college baseball season, and so unfortunately, some days you just feel like, wow, it's a little light or inconsistent, and then other days like today, you go, holy cow, that was something else. That was a good performance, and I think that's just youth, and so the more confident and old they get, the better that'll flatten out. I think that curve will flatten out.
So if you feel like they showed immaturity Sunday, mature response then today, would you say that?
Overall, there were still pieces of the game that you'd go, wow, that wasn't a very mature at bat, but largely, if you, like we asked, we used a Ken Revisit type thing, and it was, why don't we cut those in half? If we can cut those bad at-bats and young at-bats in half, and then try to cut that in half, then we're doing okay, and that's what we asked them to do, and they did it.
Not that you guys can go out there and score 16 every day, or 15, whatever it was, but you feel like this is where the potential of the lineup can be, where you guys can go out there and 1 through 9, like you said, and be deep on a consistent basis?
I think so, yeah.
Nice to see Justin Casella back out there.
Yeah, he looked rusty, but still, he's a very good baseball player, and so having him back and having him healthy is going to be important for us.
What's helped Jacob just be such a consistent power hitter over the course of his career? He had 15 home runs last year. I think he's sitting at 14, and obviously the home run leader career here. What goes into just being as consistently, good at power hitting as him?
Well, I don't know. He's a great kid. First off, he's an amazing kid. He's one of the most polite people to people. He looks big and mean because he's just so strong and physically. His physique is imposing. But still, yet he's the nicest kid in the world. He's like the biggest teddy bear going. He's a fierce competitor now. He's got a mean streak to him when it's time, which is great. I think Coach Martyrs helped his development a ton, and so they've invested a lot of time with each other, and it shows.
You guys are crossing from the first half of conference play now into the second half of conference play starting this weekend. What do you want to see your group do? You referred to their youth, so how do they show they're a more mature group through the second half of conference play as compared to the first? What are some things you'll be looking for?
Well, they did a good job in the first half of conference play, and we're just looking to continue to do what's been successful for us.
How important is it for Hurd, who's kind of scuffling coming in today to get 3 hits, 2 of them extra bases?
Yeah, and the one at the end, the single up the middle, was really what the doctor ordered. They had climbed back into it. Credit to Coach Mack's club. They're always gritty. They always seem to climb back into games, no matter what game it is. And these guys are hot. Those guys were as hot as it gets. I think 7 or 8 wins in a row, and they're playing great baseball. And so for Jeffrey to get that single up the middle there late in the game, that was a tough at-bat, and that was a really, really good, for an RBI, that was a really telling swing of his character. He stayed with it when he was scuffling.
And Meggers, too. You talked about him preseason. He led the team.
Tough. Just tough.
Again today, another home run.
Yeah, just the guy you want. Just he's just a tough kid, mentally tough kid, and he just brings that to the table each and every day.
With Casella coming back, obviously he's rusty, his first game back, but do you feel like Chase has done enough to solidify himself as a guy who's going to be either left, catch, or DH, someone who's going to be in the order on a day-to-day?
Sure, looks like it. He looks like maybe our best hitter, or one of the best hitters for sure. He's doing a great job.
And Maddox, just more thoughts on him?
Well, he even took good swings in a couple of at-bats. He popped up to the third baseman, I think, catcher, third baseman area today, and I thought it was one of his best swings that he had all day, and it was a pop-up. But he continues to take very good swings and play, for the most part, play old at shortstop. And so just thrilled that he's in our program, and the development coach Hinkle's worked with him on defense has been really, really a tell and a plus for us.
Ducks continuing to churn forward on the diamond. Now they're going to the sunken diamond to continue their Pac-12 action. Oregon, half game out of first place in the Pac-12. Continuing to break down Oregon baseball when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Back on Duck Insider here inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Continuing to talk Oregon baseball. And someone we haven't heard from on the show yet this year is Ian Umlaut. And I want to highlight what he's done in the midweeks because there have been 3 performances this year by Ian Umlaut that have been really, really stellar. On the road, just before Pac-12 play opened up, he came out and gave 4 perfect innings in relief against GCU. Then a little bit of shuffling, a few different roles in the pitching staff. He's now worked his way into the starter on the midweeks. And last week he threw 7 innings. It was the most of any starter all year to that point before R.J. Gordon one-upped him in the very next game on Friday. But then he threw 6 innings of work over the weekend 2 days ago on Tuesday. He had innings of 7 pitches in an inning, 10 pitches in an inning, and 8 pitches in an inning. This guy's got a whole lot of pitches, a whole lot of stuff, and he can locate around the corners. And I think he's one of the better interviews on the team as well. Ian Umlaut giving some real insight about his performance on Tuesday. I think it's great to hear. Here is Ian Umlaut.
Talked about a lot of changes you made. He implied kind of on and off the field. Not that you have to get into everything, but I mean, do you feel like just more mature, more grown up? Is your process different as you go through it this time around?
Definitely. I mean, the difference between this year and last year has been huge. Again, both on and off the field, just making changes with diet, when I'm going to bed, being on time for certain things or early. So those obviously play a big role in transforming the on the field things in general. But I mean, it's just sticking to my process, trusting myself, and we talk about it all the time, but trying to find a way to get better every day, whether it's in the weight room, in the classroom, on the field. So that's just been a big thing for me. So I think there's been moments that I've had the last 2 starts that would have kind of snowballed last year, you know, getting runners on and getting out of it with 2 runs rather than 4 or 5. I think that's a testament to just my growth and maturity from a pitching standpoint, you know, being able to get soft contact when I need it and keeping balls in the infield. and keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate has helped me avoid damage the last 2 starts. So definitely.
What's it like in the starter role? You're more of a reliever last year.
Right.
This is 2 straight. You go at least 6 innings. What's it like?
It's different. I like the options that I get to prepare a little differently in terms of my weekly schedule. Your lifts are programmed more specifically. You know what day you're going to be pitching, and so I think it's a lot easier to prepare from both a mental and a physical standpoint. But in general, it's go out there and compete for me from a personal standpoint, and just trying to enjoy every second of it. But it was, it's been a big goal of mine to contribute as a starter, and so to be able to do that right now has been a lot of fun, and it's also made my weekly process even better.
When you introduce, I think it sounds fair to say the way you're describing it. When you introduce more discipline into your life, that can be hard.
Right.
What's it like to then see some benefits like you have the last couple of weeks, and perhaps reinforce, okay, all those sacrifices, whatever, are worth it?
It's cool. It's a good feeling. It's when you put things into perspective, it's that's for me. That's the big thing is putting things into perspective and thinking about how lucky I am to be able to do what I do, but also how hard I've worked for the opportunities that I've earned. There's 2 sides of it. So from a discipline standpoint, it's definitely a good feeling knowing that you've cleaned some stuff up both on and off the field to help you earn a bigger role. But it's also staying hungry and knowing that we got a lot of baseball left to play, and that any way we can win and continue to play well is going to be huge.
That's Ian Umlant breaking down his performance on Tuesday as Oregon is now going into action on Friday against Stanford on the road. And also there are some rumblings just put out on some Oregon social media channels. There looks to be like there's some work being done at Matthew Knight Arena. That's what the court currently looks like at MKA. It is a blank canvas right now at MKA on the new court. What designs do the fans want to see on the new court? Please leave them. Facebook, YouTube comments. What logo? What design? Scott wants it to be the NBA All-Star LED style design that can kind of change. Granted, I'm not sure how practical that is, but that's Scott's suggestion. However practical, ever impractical, I want to hear him. What is the best design that can be implemented out on the court at MKA? That's what I want to know. I think it's a great question. I'm really excited to see some fan submissions. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We've got a ton of football interviews we still have to get to tomorrow, softball for tomorrow, and it's a whole lot of game days coming up. We'll see you soon. Go Ducks.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie.